Hello, lovely people in Nigeria, Africa, an amazing continent that I haven't been to yet, but it is on my bucket list to do. And I'm so looking forward that one day I get to see this amazing country with amazing people, amazing tradition, and an amazing wildlife. So, firstly, I welcome you to my webinar and I hope you will learn a lot. I've put in a lot of focus to help you along the way, and I'm very aware that I'm talking to the younger generation. So hopefully I can address this also. So my name is Jacqueline Hofste. I'm a German born and I live in Australia. And you might have noticed a bit of an accent. No, it's not South African. Sometimes I get that. I'm South African or from New Zealand or Canada. No, this is what you get when a German people comes to Australia and kind of talks a bit of a mishmash of accent. And I will tell you a little bit more about me as we go along. But to start with, really, I want to thank Tiscap. I call him Tiscap. It kind of started off probably wrong. Sometimes I get names a little bit wrong, but he said it's okay. So I keep calling him Tiscap. He is such an amazing, engaged, wonderful, passionate person who is so dedicated to his country and wants to improve it. And what better place to start as with young people, because you are the future leaders. If you're not already leaders, you probably already are. So I'm very passionate about leadership. Leadership has been, my life journey, because I understand if we become leaders in our own right, and we don't have to become millionaires or billionaires, but if we become leaders in our own life, we live joyful and empowered lives. And that's what I am about. So let's get started. Today's topic is about grounded confidence, the new currency of leadership. And I've called it this because in today's environment and today's society, we have so many distractions, and everyone is shouting louder from the soapbox, which is now called social media. Everyone is colorful. Everyone wants to do or sell or get your attention. And how do you compete? How are you being with that? You need to ground yourself and cut through the noise. And you want to understand what is true about it, because there is a lot of deception around, a lot of pretense, and we don't see it if people present themselves nicely on a screen. So my theme for today is grounded confidence, the new currency of leadership. Let's get started. Today's agenda is about, I want to showcase a few top leaders and their style, and show you that leadership, anyone can become a leader, and it doesn't have to look a particular way. And I take you through 3 key principles of becoming a successful leader. Now there are many more. I just picked 3, so you got to go by with what I've picked for today, which leads you to this grounded, confident leadership. And I will also give you some practical tools to kind of combine the mind and the body, because that needs to be one. And I know Tiscap is talking also a lot about the mind and how the mind is sort of guiding us, but we need to embody confidence. It also needs to sink into our body, and we need to be it, and we need to be authentic about it. So that's my topic for today. And before we also really get into it, or as we get into it, take a few moments for yourself and think about very specific situations in your life that you feel you would like to develop more confidence. 1 or 2 situations, that is enough. It can be obviously professional related, but it can also be private. And sometimes we have some challenging situations that are reoccurring in our family, with our friends, or at work. So have a think about it. What's the one or maybe two things that you really would like to have more confidence in? Is it this one person that you really would like to have a conversation with and you're just not daring to say anything? Or is it that you are quiet in meetings because you think, oh, I'm not sure, maybe, you know, my idea is going to be ridiculed? Or is it someone in your family or friend circle where you think, I really, you know, need to have a conversation with them and express myself, but I don't feel I can do this? So have a think about it as we go along, make it very specific, and see how what we're talking about today will help you with this. And I also looked at typical challenges. I run various webinars, and you know, usually when I sort of go out more in the public places, I get younger people as well as more mature people, and I always get the responses, you know, on the questions and the challenges that is currently bothering them. So I've put a few challenges together that are maybe more relevant to the younger generation, but not only. So being confident with more senior professionals. I mean, I get that a lot when people think, oh, you know, I'm a junior project manager. I'm not in the leadership team. How can I influence others? We talk about that. You can. Or you're new in a job. That's a challenge. You want to, you know, you want to look good. You might want to make a good impression. You also want to connect with others and create a network. And career advancements and stepping up, how do I manage that? Being taken seriously, I mean, that's a big one that often comes from younger people. And, you know, how can I be taken seriously? I'm just 24 and, you know, my manager is 50 years and they have 30 years of experience, and why shouldn't they take you seriously? They don't expect from you to be on that level. Managing priorities or triggering situations, especially triggering situations where just our emotions sometimes can get the better of us and we just react rather than respond. And I have specific tools to manage that when that happens in the moment. So hang in that, because that is coming towards the end. And sometimes this world can be confusing and challenging. And I can tell you this is confusing and challenging for many of us. And this world currently has a lot of challenges. And it's not that history tells us it never has happened. We had wars, we had different sort of climatic changes. This is not all new to us, but we're living in a very technology-oriented world. And obviously, you know, I can't say it without mentioning AI. It's going to change our world in a way that we cannot anticipate. And the top leaders and the experts on AI can't anticipate how that will work out. We don't really know. So that can be challenging and confusing at the same time, but you can step through it with quiet confidence and just take it one day at a time. So let's start with some top performers, world leaders that are at the top of the game. And I've put those together for various different reasons. One reason is that I want to showcase that different leadership styles are not an obstacle. You know, these people have very different leadership styles, and you just need to find your own. You just need to be authentic about yourself. And this is what these leaders also have in common. As different as they are, they have something in common, and this is authenticity. And authenticity is the topic of today, plus grounding. So let's have a look at those. So there is Bozoma St. John. She's a US citizen. She was the managing director of Apple, and she made iTunes what iTunes is today. Pretty impressive. If that's not enough, then she went to Netflix, and she did a very similar thing there as well. She is an absolutely stunning, successful person. She is a very colorful person, as in, look at her. She obviously likes fashion, and she looks stunning, and she's using this, but this is her authentic self. This is not a pretense, because the way she talks is very down to earth. She tells young people, and she has workshops for the younger generation, and I believe a lot of them are women, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't apply to men as well. She talks to them, you have to work hard, you have to have work ethics, you have to be authentic. And she said she carved her way out. She doesn't look like the typical person in a boardroom, but that's her style, that's what she loves, that's her unique being, and that's her self-expression, but it is authentic. And that is the difference to what we often see on the world stage or on the social media platforms, that people look very glossy, very beautiful, but it's a pretense. This woman is authentic, and she's highly successful, and she had her challenges in life, as we all have. And then I put Steve Jobs in there, so that's giving away my age. I worked for 2 decades in software development, not as a software developer, but as a manager, managing director, and I relate to software development very well. And obviously Steve Jobs is sort of, my vintage, you could say. And he was just an incredible leader, and he's learned so much, and he kept it simple for himself. And when I still listen to his YouTube videos, he learned so much about management and leading others and becoming a leader. And none of these top performers are perfect. Steve Jobs wasn't perfect. He started off, he was quite aggressive with people. He challenged them extremely, but his whole focus was on user experience. And if you want to work for a top performing company with a top performing CEO, you got to deliver something, and something will be requested from you. It's not going to be given to you for mediocrity. So he was demanding top level, and the people that worked with him closely, they loved him for it. And still, very, very different leadership style compared to Bozoma. And then we have Mahatma Gandhi, Indian, you could say, was very active in the freedom fight for India against the British colonialism. A very different personality, very soft-spoken. He would only wear his sort of Indian attire. And, he didn't dance from the tables. He was very centered, obviously a highly spiritual person, for those who know a little bit more about him. And he was very calm and very soft-spoken. And people would just listen to him, because he was talking to the people. He wasn't talking about himself. He was talking to the people and what is important to the people. And I would like to pass that on to you, because that is a major contribution as a leader that you can have, that you focus not on yourself. It is not on how you look, how respectable you are. It is about how can you help others. Just look at Tiscap. He's putting everything in for his country and the young generation. That's hard work. That's what leaders do. And then we have 2 leaders from your country, and I'm not sure whether I can pronounce those names correctly. I have tried to learn it. It's a little bit challenging for me. So we have Tony Olumilu, and he is the chair of the United Bank of Africa. I mean, wealth beyond belief. It's not all about wealth. You don't come to this position by not working on yourself. It's impossible. It's not just a fluke or it just happens. No, this man would have worked on himself and would have worked very hard to get where he is. That is a very, very intense and respectable position he has in your country. And it is something that you can also copy. You can look at other leaders and see, what are they doing? How are they being? Are they authentic, or are they just putting on a facade? And then we have lovely Folorunsho Alakaya, trying my best to pronounce it correctly. Lovely, lovely woman who is incredibly successful. You can be so proud of her. Working in, I've looked it up, we're working in oil, real estate, and then fashion. She's so recognizable. And again, it's the same thing. It's work ethics, it's becoming a leader, working on yourself, not giving up, being persistent, resourceful, and everything and above. So, the truth about effective leaders is leadership style doesn't matter so much. What matters is that you have a good view and understanding of reality of things. You have a good understanding of hiring the right person, of building how to build a team, how to understand business. It needs to be based on what's real, what's working. And the other aspect is that you gotta be authentic, you gotta be yourself. You can't present outside a different persona than you actually are. Because once you do that, people will notice. In my career, I've hired, I don't know how many people. We just built, teams around the world. And I've seen so many people. And if someone would hide some information in a job interview, or would not just be so honest about things, leaders notice it. It doesn't actually matter whether you have good or bad intentions. You can be a very selfish leader. You can be a criminal leader. They know people. They know how it works, and they know how other people work. And if you're not authentic, we human beings are wired to feel if someone is not authentic. We might not understand exactly what it is. That's why you ask more questions. But you feel it and you think, something isn't right here. It doesn't add up. And that's what leadership is about. And it is a life journey. It never stops. So be real about that. But it is very rewarding, because you are building yourself, you are building your life. As you become more and more of an authentic leader, it will trickle through your life. It will trickle through your families, your children, your parents. Your life will incredibly benefit from the fact that you're spending intentional time to understand who you are, why you are the way you are, and how you can transform yourself and become a leader. And what I also get a lot is when people think, once I've made it and I'm, the CEO, or I've built the company to a certain level, life will be better. You might have a lot more money, and that makes life better. There's no doubt around it. It's not necessarily giving you fulfillment, but it definitely makes life better if you have resources. But once you're on that level, what happens is the challenges become just so much bigger. All you're doing is, as you grow into your leadership role, you expand your capacity. You start maybe as a junior and you expand your capacity to be able to take the responsibility and the pressure of a bigger team, of becoming, you know, a middle manager, and then moving up. All it does is you are able to deal with more and more and more severe challenges. That's the difference. You don't all of a sudden become, oh, I can now, you know, relax, have my pina colada, and people are working for me. It's also possible that you can achieve that. But in essence, as you grow as a leader, when you can come to this top level, like these leaders, your challenges will be top level challenges. Right, let's move on. So all I'm teaching is based on what is real about human beings. So I'm not usually teaching around concepts or ideologies or dogmas or concepts that are sort of vastly invented. I'm not saying this is wrong. It's just I'm looking at what is real about leadership in this context. What is the truth about it? Because it cannot just be, you know, you can't just wing it. And even if you wing it and you're successful, and you know, and you need to understand what the hell made me successful. And sometimes, you know, I had someone who was really successful building a business and wanted to do it again with a different business, and they didn't know what it was that made them successful. So we had to peel it apart. You also need to understand what makes you successful. So the study of what's real about human being is called the study of ontology. You know, you can study it at university if you want to. It's, you know, it's a real thing. I'm not going to go into it, but I just wanted to mention it here, that I'm working with what's real, and it's been studied all throughout the world. You know, what makes successful leaders successful? What is it? What are the ingredients? And the ingredients are authenticity, responsibility, vulnerability in the right moments, and higher purpose. You need to have a higher purpose. It cannot only be about yourself. It's not enough. At some point you will realize it. There is nothing wrong with having abundance. There's nothing wrong with getting a great new car. But it's not all. You want to give to society. You want to be a contributor. You want to help others, whichever way that is. It doesn't matter which way. It needs to be authentically connected to you. And the more you also focus on other people, the less you focus on you. And I'm not saying you shouldn't focus on you, but not so much. And your problems sometimes resolve in very different ways, because you're just focusing on another person. And you think, oh, well, my problem, oh, maybe it wasn't that bad after all. So I don't know how it is in Nigeria, but here in this Western world, in Australia, and also in Europe and the US, where I often, you know, deal with people, or, you know, inform myself or listen to certain things, current affairs, there's a lot of focus on oneself also. And it does also create problems. You cannot always focus on yourself and your problems. It just makes those problems so much bigger. This is why when you are in a business and you have a goal, and you focus on the goal, and you think, oh my God, when I achieve this, life will be so different. So as you are focusing outward to the goal, you are not so concerned about the immediate pain. And that's, you know, that's huge, because you're virtually looking across it. And it's similar if you focus on someone else. I mean, have you ever noticed when you help someone else, you know, someone might have fallen on the street or an accident or something, and you helped someone and you completely forgot about yourself. And you thought, oh my God, I had my own issues, but yeah, it's okay. I can actually deal with it. Now, I want to make it clear, this is not about not looking at your issues, but it's also not about overemphasizing. You got to find the right balance. And yeah, so let me just see what my presentation says. I have a little presentation here, and you probably will have it on the screen there soon. So my why am I doing this? I mean, I started off as I said, I was born and raised in Germany. I studied science. I loved it, absolutely loved it. And then I realized, well, I do, you know, want to go into business. And back in those days, as a scientist, you know, every major company would want to take you. That's been changed a little bit, but back then that was the case. And I felt I wanted to learn about business and about people, and I did this for 2 decades. This is when I came to Australia, and for 2 decades I worked for really great companies. I'm very, very grateful that I had these beautiful companies that supported me, that also sent me to leadership training, and I've learned so much in those 2 decades. I'm vastly grateful for it. And then there comes the time where I thought, you know, what's next? I was on my path on becoming a CEO. I was 1 level below. And I thought, if I'm a CEO, then I can make the difference in this company that I'm the CEO for. And my higher purpose came in between and said, no, I think you can make more difference if you help others to move up their career. If you help others to become the CEO who is concerned about service to others and not selfish. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing now. And I'm very happy with that. I get so much out of it, teaching others and seeing the success and see how they move through life and through their career and become a beautiful leader. And I think, yeah, that's my tentacles going out. Let's, you know, make all not little, but leaders out there. And also, as a person, you never know the difference you make in another person's life. Especially when you are a little younger, you'd like to see the results straight away, but it doesn't happen. Sometimes you will even not see the result. You might help a person and the person will disappear from your life and they will do great things and you don't know. That also means you don't know the impact you have. So keep that in mind. You don't always know the impact you have on others. So let's get into the 3 key principles, the ones that I've just chosen. There's so many more. There's so much around leadership. Oh God, there's no end in sight. So what today's webinar or workshop is also about, understanding what makes you more confident and how can you ground yourself in this confidence and embody it. You know, have you ever noticed some great leaders, they stand on the world stage and they're really grounded and they're just, you know, ideas just come to them. They speak to the audience as if that's, you know, second nature to them, and probably is. And they just embody that confidence. Now, one myth around confidence is also that it is about productivity and being perfect. No, it's not about that. It's about having the understanding and the faith and the knowledge about yourself that, yeah, I can do this. It may not be smooth sailing, it may not be pretty, but I can do it. and I step into what's called the unknown. That is confidence. And when you can embody this, your life calms down. There is a challenge, there is a fire next door, someone goes to hospital, and you just deal with it. You're calm, centered, focused, and you have that presence that other people see in you, and they think, oh, I wished I had that. How can I get that? That's what today's session is about. And I have 3 keys. Key number 1 is credibility and congruence. It does come back to authenticity. It is the architecture for authentic leadership. And credibility, I mean, what does it mean? Credibility doesn't mean that you have to be a top leader. You have to be somewhere in the company. No, it doesn't. You could have just started at the bottom. Bozoma said that she basically fell into business. She had no idea. She said in one of her speeches, she said, it's like I fell through a window in the inner walls, and she started at the bottom. She had no idea about business. Nothing. And credibility comes from being your word. It doesn't matter your age. And that's how you create credibility. You create it regardless where you are, regardless where you are in your career. You just be your word. And then you align yourself, your life, according to who you are. That means congruency. That means you are in alignment with yourself. As I mentioned earlier, you can present a persona outwards, and that's also fine. I'm presenting right now a persona to you. I'm not sitting here in my comfortable track pants. I'm not talking to you as if I would talk to my daughter or my best friend in a coffee shop. It is a different persona, but it is, hopefully, it's authentically me. So having that as a baseline gives you the baseline for being effective in what you do. And because you become effective, you become successful in what you do. That doesn't necessarily mean it is that easy and that straightforward, because you also have to intentionally ask yourself all the time, what have I done today? Have I been my word? Have I slipped? Am I in congruence with what I want to do? Have I promised something to someone that I'm actually not wanting to do? Or that's actually not right for me to do? And that's being in incongruence. And you will learn that you prioritize. This is really important for me, so I'm going to spend more time there. Something else is less important for me, so I can't do everything at the same time. And I have to say no at times and decline. And that's being more and more congruent. You need to build it. You need to understand what is important to me. Who am I? What is it that I want to bring into this world? Who am I authentically? That doesn't mean that you need to express yourself from the deepest of your heart all the time. No, obviously, in a professional environment, you have a different communication, as I said, compared to a friend in a coffee shop. Both can be congruent, both can be slightly different, and you're still yourself. So there are certain myths around leadership, and I kind of mention it maybe a little bit, and I call it mythology, or certain myths around leadership. You don't need to be senior to be a leader. You don't actually need to have a team to be a leader. You can be a thought leader. You can be a leader on social media and leading some movement. Tiscap is a leader because he's leading a movement. Well, that does imply he has teams and he has people that he's working with. But you do not need to be senior to be a leader. You could have just started your job and people see, that person looks like a leader, because they do as they say. They have a good grasp of reality. They have a certain level of awareness, and you can rely upon this person. You don't have to be inspirational. I mean, that's also something I get a lot. It's like, how can I become inspirational? I don't know. If I think of Mahatma Gandhi, inspirational, like he wasn't dancing, to keep it a bit funny, he wasn't dancing on the table. He was very, very serene, quiet, calm. That's not usually how people see inspiration, but he was inspirational. He was deeply inspirational because he was so authentic. That's what inspirational is about. You don't have to be colorful, you don't have to dance on the table, you don't have to be the loudest, you don't have to be, oh, everyone loves me. No. Some people will and others won't. You just got to be authentic. I remember when I do love presenting, I have to say that. And years ago, 15 years ago or something, I was concerned, like when I'm presenting, that I was concerned that I'm not connecting with the audience. And I got coaching on that. It really sort of stifled my progress a bit. It sort of caused me anxiety. And I thought, I actually like presenting, but it causes me anxiety because I'm not sure will people connect with me. See, the first thing was that I was focusing on myself, and I spoke about this earlier. You focus too much on yourself rather on the people. So I got the coaching revealed to me that all I need to be on stage is authentic. I don't need to be inspirational. I don't need to connect to people. People will connect to me if I'm authentic. And some people will not connect to me. And that's okay. That's being confident. Not everyone connects to me. Some people think, who is that strange woman with this strange accent? Where's she from? South Africa? No, what? Germany? No, Australia? And the thing is, what it was, it gave me a certain level of freedom. I thought, I don't have to worry about people connecting to me. I just be authentic. And I'm okay that not everyone is going to connect with me. Some people won't. And you also don't have to be highly experienced. Experience comes over time, and that is not required. And I do get these sort of myths a lot from people. Or people build a business and they're at the start of their business and they think, well, I don't even have a car, I don't even have an office, I look like nothing. Will people even, buy my services or my products? I rock on and I have to get an Uber or I come by public transport. I have nothing to show for. It's not that important. If you're authentic, if you have a good product, if it serves someone, you will find clients. And then you will build a business. Eventually you will have a car and an office if that's what's needed. But you don't have to start like this. You don't. So, and I don't know, also because I've never been in Africa. So I said it's on my bucket list. I'd love to come to Africa. It's such an amazing country. You need to own it. You need to own your country. And I do understand sometimes there's this sort of a tendency to look outward to see what's happening in the US or in Europe or Australia, sort of some other countries, or China, or who knows. And the thing is, it may even sometimes occur to you as a little bit nicer and glossier, but the thing is, we have corruption here. The politics here in this country and also in Germany, the leaders we have in Germany are appalling. Sorry, I have to say, they are appalling. I'm saddened by it. Not only in Germany, in other countries in Europe as well. I just think, the systems we have are not working anymore. They might still look glossy and nice, but our education system, our medical system, and yes, we have great medical care here. People can get surgeries, but it's also not really working for us anymore. It's become too, what can I say, too administrative. It's not doing the right thing anymore. It's overloaded. It's not doing, politicians are not really leaders anymore. So we are all in this game of improving society. And from that perspective, just be realistic about it, which, sometimes it's hard. You might think, oh, the US is so exciting. It is. I have family there, and it is a wonderful country. But it also has huge challenges these days. Who would have thought 20 years ago or 30 years ago? So your country is spectacular. It may have issues, and I know Tiscap has told me about it, and infrastructure issues and corruptions, and that's why you need to own it, because it's an amazing continent, Africa. Amazing. And you're the next generation, or maybe even further up. Your country. The way I put my efforts in Australia now. So we have some distortions around authenticity, especially, in our climate. I don't know how it is in your country, but there has been sort of this tendency, or whatever I say is authentic, it's because that's what I feel right now, so I should be saying it. I should have the freedom to express myself. Yes, I do believe we should have the freedom to express ourselves, but not everything what comes to my mind needs to be expressed. Sometimes the mind comes up with some, awful stuff. What it means that if you're saying whatever comes to my mind, you're just very reactive. And we're going to talk about that as well a little bit further down the track. You want to be responding, not reacting to emotions. That needs a little bit of space, a little bit of a breather. And also just rejecting sort of societal norms without discernment, which, happens a lot also. Not everything is bad. Keep the good. And one thing which is very big here is this sort of victim mentality. Don't let it creep in your country. This, oh, I'm too vulnerable, but really just fishing for validation, and it just keeps you in victim mentality. Now, I've had clients come to me and they have been through horrendous trauma that I haven't experienced in my life. And I thought, oh, how did they even make it out of it? How did they even become the person that they are today? So I'm not invalidating trauma and what people can go through. And they all came to this conclusion. At some point they said, life needs to continue. And I'm gonna now pull it towards me rather than, and they've processed it and they've done a lot of work. But it's become a little bit of a fashion, sort of this, I have to say fashion, or trend to broadcast this. But at some point, you just want to move on. You only have this one life. And you want to be empowered. And being empowered is something that you have to train yourself to become. It's not something that's just, oh, I'm so empowered, life is great. Yeah, if it is like this for a moment, embrace it, because it's going to change soon again. And empowerment means also moving through the challenges, even if it doesn't feel good. That's also empowerment. Empowerment is not only, feeling good and feeling so empowered. Sometimes you gotta, grasp all the courage you have to speak up, but that's true empowerment. Right, so authenticity, we spoke a lot about authenticity. It's not really sort of a sentiment, it's not self-expression for its own sake. It is something, it is a specific quality of being, which is a reality, which is, been studied as part of the ontology. And it is a sort of a fundamental alignment to truth, and you have to be intentional about it. You can't just say, oh, I'm authentic. No, you actually have to question yourself. If possible, at the end of every day, did I lie somewhere? Did I exaggerate somewhere? Did I not speak up somewhere? In my day, how can I be different the next day? Because all these things are, inauthenticities. And it needs intentional awareness and work to become authentic. And the way you become authentic is that you look at where you are not authentic. And wherever you feel the need that you have to polish yourself up or pretend or lie, or you feel you're not confident enough, or you're shy, that's all a level of inauthenticity. And you want to look into it, you want to understand, why have I reacted like this? Don't make yourself wrong, just look at it and see, okay, so maybe next time I'm going to speak up in that meeting. I'm taking my intentional focus. Next time I'm going to speak up in the meeting. That's how you claim your empowerment. That's how you become confident and authentic. It doesn't just appear on a silver platter or just because the way you are. No, we do have a lot of inauthenticities which we have accumulated through life experiences. And yeah, sometimes it's a bit uncomfortable to look at those, but if you don't, you just drag them along. They're not helping. So, key number 2, embodying grounded, aware authenticity. In a way, I've already spoken about it. The more authentic you become, the more aware you become, and the more you will ground it into your whole persona. That includes your body. It's not just here. It includes your whole body. You can embody authenticity. And the body is very intelligent. It's not just here. The whole body tells you. If something is wrong in your body, it will tell you. If you are not authentic, it will also tell you, because it doesn't feel good. Somewhere in your body, you will feel it. Oh, I didn't speak up in this meeting, I should have. You feel it in your maybe stomach. Not always, could be in your throat also. You feel it. Your body will tell you, and listen to it. So, leading by example and being authentic about it is, you need to intentionally question some of your beliefs and perceptions. Not all of them, because there are like hundreds or thousands of them, but whenever something bubbles up that is not feeling good, not right, it's not really effective, it's not really helping you, you want to look at it and see, what I believe of this situation, is that actually true? A person may be grumpy with you, or grumpy in general, and you think, you project it onto you and you think, oh, they don't like me. But is that true? Maybe they just have a bad day. So you need, and the more you do it, the more aware you become, and then you develop this healthy situational awareness, where in a situation with another person, you just see the reality of things. You think, oh yeah, I gave it my opinion, but I get, oh, that's just my opinion. Actually, that may not be true. Let me ask the person, is this what you meant? And then they say, no, I didn't mean that. That's how you validate. And then you think, oh my God, I could have gone off on a tangent. But they didn't mean it in such a way. So good that I have, questioned that. That's healthy situational awareness, where you just think, oh, wait a second, I give this person, a label. Is that the correct label? Is that true? And sometimes as a leader, and that does come as a surprise to some people, because we sort of perceive leadership as, I need to be strong, I need to be there, I need to be present, I can't make any mistakes. The thing is, you're human too. Everyone is human, and also these top leaders, they're not perfect, they're also human. And the idea is to be vulnerable and open enough in an appropriate way, where you can even tell your team, okay, so what I decided the other day didn't work out so well. Let's try it again. We had someone in our courses who lost a whole business as an entrepreneur because he thought that he had to hold it all together, be the strong leader, and not let anyone know that the business was in trouble. Now he realized if he would have conveyed some of it to the team, you don't have to convey everything, and told them about the situation, they might have come up with ideas to help him. They might have said, oh, maybe I'll work part-time for some time, or maybe I'll go on a holiday now. And he realized he may not have lost that business because he was under the impression he has to keep up this facade. No, you don't. You're just making yourself more human if you ask for help. And holding yourself and others to account, that's also a big one here in this society, where people are just not holding each other to account. And that doesn't mean in a mean way. It's just, a very sort of straightforward way. But that's also because people don't hold themselves to account. They let themselves off the hook. It's kind of what this society, this comfort, convenient type of society, where we have a lot of luxuries that, my grandmother didn't have, where this kind of crept in. Oh, it's okay, I'll do it tomorrow. These things. The thing is also, if you hold yourself to account and said, okay, today I'm doing this, and sometimes, yes, you don't get it done, which is fair enough, which happens a lot. But if you hold yourself to account, you also create more confidence in yourself. You create more empowerment when you think, oh my God, I've done all of this. I had 10 items on my checklist. I've done 8. It's not everything, but I've done good. And the other 2 gonna have to be tomorrow. It doesn't mean that you become sloppy, letting something go, but also realistic, and acknowledge yourself if you have achieved something. And hold yourself to account, as in when you kind of think, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. And then they say, no, let's do it today. Let's finish it today. It's a 1-hour job. And then when you're done, you feel so good about yourself. But you don't want to overstretch it. Sometimes, we do get overworked as well. So, key number 3, developing the groundedness. So we're now going a little bit more into the body part of it, as I said. So you can develop responsiveness rather than reactiveness. And what I mean by that is that responsiveness, we also say, as we call it, ontological responsiveness, where you become so aware of a situation, even if you are triggered, we're all human, we all get triggered here and there, that you don't immediately react, to let you actually give it a couple of seconds and you realize, oh, this is what's happening. So you can respond, which makes you much more effective, rather than being reactive and being, upset, and why did you say this? You calm yourself down. And especially, in high pressure situations. And I'm going to give you some clear tools how you can release that. So the first thing is, nobody likes discomfort. especially also emotional discomfort. And that's, you know, my arena as a coach as well. And what happens often is when you experience discomfort, there is this sort of inadvertent reaction. Oh, I don't want it. But at the same time, you don't know what to do with it. You don't want to feel it. Yeah, pretend it's not there, and that doesn't work. And we haven't really learned how to deal with it and how to manage that. The first thing is, if you mentally acknowledge this, right now, I'm angry. That's okay. The moment you acknowledge it to yourself, you don't have to speak it out. I'm frustrated, I'm angry, I'm disappointed. It already releases a bit of the discomfort. It's like already trickling off. And then rather than putting pressure against it, because it will just put pressure back, you just lean a little bit into it. Okay, I'm angry. I'm really angry. Where do I feel it? How do I feel it? And just a little bit lean into it and just be with it. Okay, it's okay. I'm angry. I can be angry as long as I don't let it out on other people. When you go through this process internally, your discomfort, this emotional sort of overwhelm that can wash over us, will subside slowly. It's because you're leaning into it, you're acknowledging it, you're just being with it. Eventually it will just disappear. But if you put pressure on it, if you think it's wrong, I shouldn't be angry, that keeps it there. This is so effective. You can practice this. This is so effective. And the other thing which is part of that principle is give yourself permission to be okay with discomfort. It's like a little mind trick. It's like, oh, I'm giving myself permission. Yeah, give yourself permission. It's okay to feel discomfort. And when you feel it and when you are emotional, the best thing is taking a deep breath, like a deep belly breath. And, that's what the yogis tell you. And you can do this anytime. You can be in an interview situation and someone asks you a question and you think, oh my God, I don't have the answer. You can always breathe. Everyone allows you to give you a few seconds to think about things. You can always breathe. Or someone says something to you and that's really upsetting, and before you just, react, just breathe. Okay, this is really frustrating. This person said to me, just breathe. And maybe clarify with the person. Maybe ask a question. Okay, is that how you meant? Did you mean that when you said this? And they may say, no. More often than not, they say, no, I didn't mean it like this. Did it come across like this? And poof, the whole emotion is dissipated. So to generate more awareness, you need to kind of distance yourself from this emotional overload. And I'm going to give you a few more tools. And you need to it's like you create time in between. Rather than reacting, you just, a couple of seconds will sometimes be enough, especially if you've practiced it a little bit. It will be enough to regenerate and not let the emotions get the better of you. So the first thing is, in these triggering moments when emotions wash us over, and trust me, it happens to everyone. It doesn't matter how high they are, they still have emotions and they're still getting triggered. Slow down time. You need to slow down time, and the way you slow down time is breathing really deeply. Slow it down. And nobody will say anything in any conversation when you take a couple of seconds to think. It's perfectly fine. And then you want to sort of mentally snap out of it. And the way you do this, I wished I had known that earlier, because it helps in exam situations, You gotta just move your body. Now, when you're at home and you read, an email that's been upsetting you, you can just, have a walk around. Obviously, when you're in an exam situation, an interview, in a meeting, you can't just do that. But see how I'm moving my body? You can move. You can just, sit different people. That's normal. Adjust yourself. Look into a different direction. So you move your body a little bit. And you can do this in an interview. You just change the position in your chair. And as you practice this, you become quite comfortable with this. And then the next thing is that your gaze, that's probably locked onto the other person, you just, look for a moment. Maybe there's a painting or something at the wall or a tree. You just look, you gaze somewhere else, just briefly. Not, very obvious, especially if there's another person in front of you. And you should do that also when you work on the computer. You should take time off and gaze. Gaze as in this wide look. Because what gazing does, rather than focusing, it helps you to switch out what's called survival mode. Because it sends to the brain the message, oh, everything is fine. She's gazing, she's relaxing. And everything here will come back to normal. Because there's one thing about emotions. If emotions run high, it's like a toggle switch. You can't think. It is a toggle switch. So you need to get, your emotions run through the body, released, so you can think again. And this is what's happening when people really freak out. They are in this heavy emotion and they virtually cannot think. That's how we are designed. Because when you're in survival mode, you don't need to think, you just need to run. Like when there's a lion after you, you just need to run to the next tree and to get, high up or something. You don't need to do an analysis. And that's what the brain is designed to do. So we're coming to the end of it, and we are pretty much at the end of it. So just some general grounding tools as well. They're so easy, they're free, you don't have to pay anything. It's, our bodies, we need time out to reflect. Don't take time out and listen to a podcast. I'm not saying don't listen to podcasts, but take time out means no, devices. It means I'm just taking some time out. Maybe I'll go for a walk and I'll just think about, so what happened today? And review events and blind spots and see, oh, right, yeah, I reacted a bit, I didn't react very well there, what happened? Take that time out. It is absolutely crucial for us human beings to do that. And listen to your body. Your body will tell you. Your body will tell you if you're tired. Your body will tell you if there's something wrong. Your body will tell you if someone else has a hidden agenda or is lying to you, or you are lying to someone else. Your body will tell you. It'll react. Listen to it. Sharpen your intuitive mind. We are very intuitive people. We can pick up on nuances. We can pick up on things. Don't let it just pass by. If you think, oh, I don't know whether I should, be in a relationship with this person, there's something not quite right. Listen to it. The right person will come along if that's not right. Or a partnership in business. Listen to if something is not right. And you can always ask questions and clarify, but don't step over it. It took me a long time to learn, and most of my clients report the same, that they say, oh, I wished I had listened to my intuition. I wished I had done this. I knew it was wrong. At a minimum, give it time. If you feel something is off, well, make the decision on the next day. My grandmother always said, and she's a very simple woman, but she said, she was very intuitive, and she said, don't make a decision in the evening, make it in the morning. If it is a bigger decision, make it in the morning. Or, if you need to talk to someone and you're tired or whatever, don't do it then. Do it the next day. Give it a little bit of time. And all these good things, we are meant to be in Mother Nature. I would hope that in your continent you still have a lot of nature. That's what it looks like to me. Australia also still has a lot of nature. We are meant to be in nature. That's who we are. We are part of nature. That's how our body is designed. And don't let yourself be intimidated by AI. I forgot to mention that earlier. Because AI doesn't have an intuitive mind, but you have. You can create information from very, very little data. AI needs gazillions of data to come up with a good answer, but we don't. We virtually need no data points to make decisions. That might sound strange. Bozana has a TED talk about intuition. Look it up on YouTube. She talks about it. Now, that's not to say that, having data is wrong as such, but you are an intuitive human being, incredibly creative. I know AI can be very creative, but only by what we fed them. We need to sort of collaborate with AI, I suppose. But don't let yourself be intimidated by it. I'm not, and I'm much older. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm not intimidated by AI. I'm looking at ways of integrating it to my life, and I understand that I can pull out information from nothing. Virtually nothing. Well, what appears to be nothing. But AI cannot do this. AI needs gazillions amount of data points to be able to come up with something. And it does have, by now, a lot of data points. Right, so I'm coming to the end. Music, dancing, exercise, and dancing. I wanted to talk about dancing because your traditional dance, which is known all over the world, how, all these different African tribes, incredible traditional dancing. This dancing, it can't be more grounding. We don't have these dances in Germany. A little bit in Australia with the Engenesis Community here. They have sort of similar style of dancing. And that's grounding. That's terribly grounding. Wrong word. Amazingly grounding. So your traditional dances, keep it up. Participate in it. I'm sure some of you would do. And okay, we're coming to the end. I hope you got a lot out of it. I really enjoyed it. I spoke to myself and I had to kind of visualize you sitting there. Yeah. And we had 3 key points: credibility and congruence. Embody grounded, aware authenticity. And give yourself permission to be okay with discomfort. And I gave you some tools. I'm also giving you one of my grounding meditations, which is sort of, I'm not quite sure, 15 minutes long, or 20 minutes long. They are instructions at the start of the meditation to tell you, what you can expect, how it goes, and so forth. Later on, you don't have to listen to that initial bit anymore. And I think it's around 15, 17 minutes after that. So if you are interested in sort of having this guided, grounded meditation, I'm handing it in as well. All my clients get it. They all get it. And I'll just send it out because it's really, really cool. I was taught this and then I recorded it for my clients because they kept asking me, can you record it for us? So lovely people on the African continent, I'm on the Australian continent. I wish you all the best. You're in good hands with Tiscap. He's an amazing, amazing leader. He's so dedicated to his country. You should be dedicated to your country as well. It's an amazing country. It has lots of resources. It has beautiful tradition, beautiful fashion, colorful fashion, and it has an amazing wildlife. And make the best of it. And that's it for me today.